That wasn't in the manga. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Kaiju number 8, episode number 8. There is something that was deliberately and distinctly added to the episode of this anime that was not in the manga. And looking back, that might have been one of those things where it's not a mistake, but as the story develops, the mangaka realizes that there's an element they need to add in that they weren't planning, or there's also evidence that this might be something that the mangaka was planning and just wanted to make more clear from the beginning. Because now we're going to be getting into spoilers. If you want a chance to click away so you don't get anything spoiled for the manga or the anime, you can click away now and go check. I'll give you some time to do that by telling you to go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, a collection of short, absurd science fiction stories. Rich boy, pretty boy. There is one of the main characters, a deuteragonist, one of the many deuteragonists in this series, if you will, is the son of the guy who makes the suits for the Defense Force. You first heard his name in the very first episode when Kafka is up on the side of the Kaiju taking it apart. The little drone flies up and the voice in the drone asks for a sample for Zumo Corp. This kid is the guy, the anime character with the green hair, is the Saikon of the Zumo family, the guy who's going to be taking over that company. He's fabulously wealthy, which is the gag in this manga. Kafka didn't know that when he asked Izumo to arrange the party for Rino and Aiharu. And in the manga, it's mentioned that he joined the Defense Force for family reasons. At the time, from chapter 1 to chapter 107, I, as well as everybody else, just assumed that, well, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. The people who run this company want a bird's eye view, not just a bird's eye view, but they want eyes on the ground to understand how their weapons are being used and how they can improve them. So it makes sense to have one of their own join the Defense Force to get in on the ground level and see how they can improve their suits, how they can make more money off of selling their suits, that sort of thing. But looking back, does it really make sense that a family of that level of power and wealth would send one of their sons into life-threatening danger when they could just be pulling telemetry from the suits? And so I think that what we see in this episode might have been a plot element that was there from the first, but Matsumoto having a chance to do-over in the anime is building it up from the beginning. Because what we see in the anime is a classic daddy issue. We have the character who is at odds with his father, but who doesn't want that known to his friends in general, so we get a lot of character building. Military boy is known to be tactful and mind his own business type, and we get an explicit statement of his goals, which is actually reiterated from his extra scene in the application arc. Okay, so But I'm wandering here. So, rich boy, it looks like he joined the Defense Force against his father's will, which is an upending of what I think the majority of the fan base has assumed. So, the anime clarifies and illustrates the point that rich boy wasn't supposed to join the Defense Force, that he did it in defiance of his father's will, where the rest of us had been assuming that he was a scout sent by his family into the Defense Force to figure out better ways to integrate their tech, because he said he joined for family reasons. Looks like he did it in defiance of his father's will, or it is traditional for Tech to send in one of their family members into the Defense Force every generation, and he's just on outs for his father for different reasons. We don't know. Then you have extra character development for Military Boy. Again, this is stuff that we didn't get in the manga. In this one, he's just chatting with Rich Boy, and he goes, "My goal is to bring as many people home as possible," which is a classic line for someone who is a top-notch commander. Mission, and then bringing people home. Mission first, then bringing people home is the second goal. And of course, a bad military commander would have the goal of self-glory. So we're establishing Military Boy as a really excellent commander, which his extra screen time in the application art did. When everybody else is trying to kill Kaiju, he's the one who thinks, okay, we're losing communication. Everybody needs direction back to base. Here's the flare. This shows you where to evacuate towards. So Military Boy gets extra character development, and we get a specific statement about Rich Boy. And I think this is really good. Matsumoto is using the freedom of getting a second chance to expand on his characters and correct misconceptions that were left over from the manga. Now that's enough of the analysis. It is time to squeeze. Oh my goodness, the fluidity of the motion in the Kaiju number 8 versus Vice Captain Hoshina fight scene was beyond my expectations. The manga is drawn so well. It expresses motion so well that I was afraid that the animated form would be a disappointment. And in the first times it was. Now, I don't know if it's that now my expectations are in tune with what this anime has to offer, or if the animators just cranked it up to 11 for this episode, but watching Kaiju number 8 going up against Vice Captain Hoshino was so amazing, and it gave you a sense of this beat. It took something from the manga, the fact that they were traveling through the city, moving in 3 dimensions. That was implied in the manga, but the anime just gives you so much of a better feel of the chase of Vice Captain Hoshina just being this inevitable force bearing down on Kafka. And Kafka just taking that blade to the chest and coughing up blood. And that moment of fear in Vice Captain Hoshina's eyes when the fist comes swinging down. Oh, perfect! One thing that was downplayed, but I can definitely see why they did it, was when Captain Mina Ashiro comes up on Vice Captain Hoshina, that little teasing play-by-play. I wish that could have been more emphasized, but it was good. It was good. Then we get the terrifying scene with Kaiju number 9. The rowdy party, where it's really illustrated that Reno's different. Psychologically, Reno is isolated from his teammates, and it doesn't show up when they're having fun because his teammates accept him. Reno has a place here. But he is different. He's the only one that didn't get involved in the fight. He was the only one really surprised by the fight. And his surprise wasn't hugely surprising. Vice Captain Hoshina explained it to him as if, yeah, there's always one guy who doesn't really get involved in the fight or who doesn't understand what's going on. But it is setting Reno apart. And I'm going to have a whole video on that separately. But I think there might be a reason that Matsumoto is letting us know that, Reno be different. Reno's different from the other guys. Then we just have that wonderful moment between Kafka and Vice Captain Hoshina, where they're teasing each other, razzing each other. You get more of that beautiful animation. I really, really enjoyed it. And then we end on that cliffhanger. And I just have one last thing to say. Seeing that next Kaiju animated, that double row of Kaiju and human teeth, was far, far more disturbing in anime form than in manga. I did not expect those teeth. Those are far too many teeth to have in one mouth, and I did not expect it to be that disturbing. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? What really stuck out to you about this episode that has so much packed into it? This is a good connective tissue episode, just bringing everything together for the massive punch at the end. But tell me what stuck out to you about this episode. Do you think Reno's sus? Do you think what did you think about the extra added scenes for Rich Boy and Military Boy? I love it when you leave comments below telling me what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.
Drake McCarty's leg was shattered, deep in the wilderness. As the flash flood closed over him, something alien pulled him from the waters. A military base that shouldn't exist. An ancient warrior with secrets of his own. Drake returns to his family with a whole leg and the burden of a secret he doesn't understand. In the forest around them, someone is watching, and something followed him home. Flying Sparks. 90,000 words of science fantasy adventure. The first novel in the Dying Embers universe is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and from the author as a signed copy. Get your copy now and step into a world where dragons walk the forest, aliens lurk on the mountain, and things go boomp in the night.
Escape into another world with the writings of author Betty Adams. Two worlds, one of utter absurdity, one of dramatic tension, both alike in aliens absolutely astounded by human behavior. Humans are weird, short, absurd science fiction stories. Flying sparks, dragons, aliens, and things that go boomp in the night.
Books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and at authorBettyAdams.com for a signed copy.